Hi there, welcome back to my garden. I'm going to be planting in some perennials today. I'm pretty excited about it. I'm always excited about planting in anything new. These are all just favorites, you know, they're ones that are reliable for me. They're ones that I was excited to find because I've already had some I'm in my garden shed and the honeybees are absolutely going berserk right around me. So anyway, I was excited to find these because they're ones that I've had in my gardens before, and I was hoping to find some to add to the garden. So I'm just going to flip you around and show you the 3 plants that I'm going to be planting, the 3 varieties I'm going to be planting, and then I'm going to go around and kind of see, I know exactly where 2 of them are going to go. The other one, I'm not entirely sure. So I have a couple options for that. So we'll go around and place those. But let me show you just really quick what I'm looking at and the plants that we're going to be planting. Okay, so like I said, we're in my garden shed, so we just have these kind of grouped together. And here we have a Heuchera. I don't know the variety because on the tag it just says 6-inch Heuchera. I don't know. I could take a guess just by looking at the color of it, but I'm not entirely sure. I know it's not Forever Purple because that's one of my favorites, and they did have that, but they only had 2 of them, and I was really hoping for 3, so I did get 3 of those. This is a Yarrow it's called Vintage Rose. It says it's a new vintage rose, so I don't know if that means it's an improved version of that or not, but I have 3 of those. They're just in small containers. I don't even know if that's maybe just a quart size, but there's 3 of those, and I just love how they have a progression of color. When they come out, they're this deeper pink, and then they, you know, just kind of go through the different shades. You can even see just on those 2, and then they fade to this, and then further on into the lighter shades with a little hint of yellow in the center. So I really like Yarrow because it is quite drought tolerant and tolerates my type of gardening, so I appreciate that. And yeah, it's a pretty texture, you know, to add into the garden. So that one I'm excited about. And then this one is a Tickseed. I have a lot of Tickseed in my garden. Typically I have mostly Moonbeam and Zagreb, I think is how you pronounce it. This variety is actually, I just planted 3 of them in the spring, and they're just beautiful. And so I was excited to find another one of these. This is Shades of Rose Tickseed, and it is a lot taller, a lot kind of more wispy than the other varieties that I have. I'll show you the Zagreb, that one's, and the Moonbeam. Those are blooming right now as well. But this one, I just love how it has the variety of color right down to the pink, or right from the pink into the yellow on the center. So I don't know, I enjoy plants that have, you know, like this one with the Yarrow, just the colors that kind of vary on the plant, the shades of the color. I just think that's really pretty, and it adds just such kind of a dynamic look on one single plant. So I picked this one because it had a lot of buds yet to open. You know, there's lots of spent blooms, but I tend to look for plants that have a lot that are left to open in this season. You know, this Yarrow, same thing. It has all sorts of little buds on it that will hopefully have time to bloom in the garden. So I'm going to place these around where I think they're going to be, and in the process I'll show you a couple other Tickseeds and a couple other Heuchera that are in the areas where I'm going to be planting these. Okay, so this isn't the best example of the Zagreb because it is kind of in between flushes of blooms. There's still a few on there. It's just a really vibrant yellow with what I find is my favorite part of the plant, the really cool texture of foliage. So it's super easy to divide. That one was there first, and then I divided it and brought it over here. This one I really should just come in and kind of shear back these spent blooms, but I haven't done that yet, because honestly, once it's done blooming, I just really like the foliage. It stays compact and just kind of just a really neat, fine texture. So as you can see, I mean, I don't know, maybe the vintage or the Shades of Rose Coreopsis that I just showed you will eventually bulk up like this. I'm not really sure, just because I haven't had it in the garden for too long. So we'll see, but either way, I mean, the flower is beautiful, and yeah, this variety, the Zagreb, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, is a favorite perennial for me in my garden. So I'm excited to add some more Coreopsis. I'm thinking possibly the Yarrow here in this bed. There's nothing blooming really obviously on this side of the bed. There's some agastache or agastaki, however you want to pronounce it, over on this side, but nothing really right now over here. There is a gardenia that I planted in right in front of them right there that it's still alive, but it's struggling a little bit, and that'll get pretty big, so I'm hesitant. I may wander around and see where else those might want to go. But while I'm up here, this is one of the shades of rose Coreopsis that I planted earlier on this spring, and it is a little denser than the one that I just picked up. So maybe that's a little bit more suggestive of how it's going to be. There's two more planted down the way. Looks like the one on the end right down here needs some water, but yeah, I just love that variety. I think the color is so beautiful. And actually it kind of matches the color of this mum that's already blooming. I think that's cute right there. My only concern is if it is for sure going to get enough sun, just because it'll be, I think, kind of shaded by these trees, you know, kind of maybe too early. It is, you know, a full sun loving plant, but you know, something I could do is actually plant it into, there's a container back there that's empty. I could plant it up into that and then just see how it does and easily move it if it doesn't thrive in that spot. There's really not too much pink around here. There's a echinacea that seeded itself right there between some stepping stones, but other than that, there's not a whole lot of pink. So that could be a really nice addition to this little garden here. Anyway, it does pain me a little bit to break up three plants, just because of the impact that, you know, when you plant three together, it gives a bit more of a striking impact. So that's kind of the only reason that I'm hesitant. But you know, like I said, I can just plant this one. I'll plant the other two back there, plant this one maybe in this pot here, and then if it doesn't seem like it's getting enough sun, I could just transplant it into the back. So these do get about 10 to 12 feet, 10 to 12 inches wide, and so I mean, if it could potentially fill in that spot pretty well and just be a nice pop of pink. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I'll plant in the Heuchera because I know that's where I'm going to put those. And then I'll come back and make sure I actually like where we're putting the Yarrow. So first things first, we're going to go in the backyard and plant the ones up back there. with the planting, and that was fun. It was fun to find places for those perennials, and then also to find some free plants thanks to my dogs breaking the sedum. I think I said it before in videos, and I'll just say it again. It's one of the best ways to propagate sedum. It's just to take a broken piece, or cut it off yourself and plop it right down in the ground. That's how I've acquired many of my sedum plants. I don't water them right away. I just kind of, like you saw, I usually put a wire cloche or something around it, just so that it kind of protects it from the dogs. Since it's not rooted in, it can easily just be bonked over if they step on it. But also to remind me that it's there, and that I need to kind of keep an eye on it and just track it, see how it's doing. So yeah, I planted in 1, 2, 3 clusters of sedum. I also decided I wanted to try it with the Dusty Miller. That's right here. I've never done it before. I looked it up and saw that it is possible to do it this way. I have another there, and I just really like this drift that goes through here, and I'm just going to try to continue it this way. If it doesn't work, I got these plants like 2 years ago at a nursery near my house for $1.50, so I think I can probably find it again and continue this on if this guy doesn't work, but we'll see. And then there's another of the clusters right back there. Oftentimes I'll just use one piece of the sedum. That one came from this bunch right here. Usually I'll just use one piece, but here I had 3, so I figured, well, I might as well just put them all in, and it'll be a bigger sedum sooner. So yeah, so that one, and then I put a little piece right in there. That was just a couple little tiny offshoots. So, it'll take a little bit for that to become something, but I believe it's the same variety as that one. They look a little different because of how much sun they get. I think so. This one's a little bit more bleached out than the one I just showed you. But even if it's not, I mean, they still look really nice together. There's an Autumn Joy right there. There's that variety there, and then beyond that you can see, I believe it's called Dark Magic, is that dark, the dark purple one beyond that. So yeah, that could be a nice little row of sedum if this one takes, and I don't see why it wouldn't, because they usually do. So then right over here where I was just at with the sedum and the Dusty Miller, this is also where I planted in the 3 Heuchera. I was thinking that I would plant the 3 right here with one right there, but I thought, well, maybe I just spread it out, put that one there, and hopefully these 2 Forever Purples will fill in a little bit more, but we'll see. We'll see how they do. I probably should have moved this one over just a smidge, but honestly, this is a Nepeta right here, and it can get pretty leggy, pretty long, so it'll probably just kind of fall forward and fill in that space as it grows. But yeah, I just wanted to take out some that weren't growing very well. I potted those guys up all together. That's like 3 little starts of a Heuchera. And if you can believe it, I mean, that's how this guy came to be. I had dug that one out of a place it wasn't doing well, potted it up, and then I ended up planting it out in the garden. So anyway, these purple Heucheras, I love. I have them all over in my garden. They do tend to keep their leaves over the winter for us here in Zone 8B, so that's nice. They can kind of look tattered, by come spring, so I can just easily cut them back, and then they'll flush out with new growth. So that was 3 of the plants. Here's another spot where I put some of the sedum pieces that broke off of one of the Dark Magic from right over there. Oh, I actually did also put a little cluster. Well, that's just actually a single, but I put one right there. Yeah, and then a cluster right here with a cloche over it. So hopefully it'll not get knocked over by the dogs, but it's a free plant, and usually they do pretty well. So I'm excited to have that there because I could use some purple in this spot. So then right over here is where I put, sorry for the funny light, but this is where I put one of the Vintage Rose Yarrow. And you can see it's in shade now. This is why I'm not really sure if it will get enough sun, actually, because it's only 2 o'clock, 2:30 right now, and it's already in the shade. So we'll see. We'll see how it does. I don't know. Being in a pot, it'll be easy to move and might need to just put it into some more sun. So now we're going to go into the backyard and see where the other ones ended up. Here's where the shades of rose Coreopsis or Tickseed ended up. It's kind of just planted right behind this butterfly bush. And next to this spirea that's been cut back, a nepeta. These are later blooming perennials, so it will be blooming, after the first flush of the nepeta, kind of, amongst the same time, basically as it is right now, based on what the other ones are doing in my garden. So I love the addition of this color here. I can see it from inside, and I like I was saying earlier, just kind of the airiness of this plant with the pretty sweet blooms. So I can just turn this way right here, and you can see that I did end up planting in the 2 yarrow right back there. This really is faith in planting because these guys are pretty short right now, but the tag says that they will get to be, I think 28 inches or so tall. So they really will put on some height, potentially. And I hope they will because they're in the back of the border and, that would be nice. I did also do some maintenance in here as far as drip goes. I don't think I had any drip hooked up to that barberry or to the gardenia that you can see right back there. There was drip running right next to them with drip emitters, but I did add in some that are directly to those root balls. So that makes me happy for those plants. I'll definitely give them a better chance. So, oh yeah, and one more thing we did also while we were here was attaching this climbing rose up onto the arbor. It's just put on quite a bit of growth recently, I noticed, and so it was really kind of flopping out into the walkway here. So I just used these little rubber twist ties to attach it to the arbor, and yeah, they smell so good and they're so sweet. I wish off the top of my head I could remember what variety this is, but sometimes my brain works and sometimes it doesn't as far as that goes. So anyway, yeah, so that was another thing that it felt good to get accomplished. So I think that's going to do it for me today for this day of planting and a little bit of maintenance too, with setting up the drip and things like that. So even though it's toward the end of August, it's still possible to be getting plants in, and we just need to remember to, water them and take care of them that way. But yeah, these were fun, happy additions to the beds, and I think that they really fill in nicely the spots that they got placed. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today while I did some yard work and some planting. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.